And we're live. Hello, subscribers, and welcome to another episode of the Pai Sho Board. As always, I'm Jack, and with me today is the voice of Avatar Yoon himself, or I guess the artist formerly known as Avatar Yoon. Welcome, Zach Roth.
Hey, hey.
How you doing today, man?
I can't complain. It's a snow day, so
Oh
not a lot
yeah.
going on.
Um,
Yep.
how how was your holiday season? It's dating this a little bit, but it's just near the end of January right now as we record this.
Yeah, well, not too bad. I had all my family get together, took a trip to Vermont over New Year's to go skiing, and now enjoying the nice January weather.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear. It's funny enough, living in Alaska, you'd think there would be more snow, but we actually didn't start getting a whole lot of snowfall until this month. It has been absolutely ridiculous. Like whereas December there was a bit of a cold snap, but we got maybe a collective 6 inches of snow across the entirety of the month.
Yeah, I mean, for us in Pennsylvania here, it just depends on some lake effect, and this has definitely been one of the least mild winters we've had in the last couple years. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we have about a foot or so out there right now. I haven't measured yet, but I'll deal with it tomorrow.
That is completely fair. Yeah, a little fun peek behind the curtains for some behind the scenes of this. This is actually our second attempt at trying to do this because we actually recorded for almost an entirety of the episode back in what was it like end of November when we tried this last time.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so to clarify though, everything on his end was completely recorded, but I ended up running out of space on the hard drive I was recording on, so I actually had to we had to reschedule to do this all over again. But I also have the memory of a goldfish, so I honestly don't remember a whole lot of what we talked about.
Yeah, it's been long enough that I'm like, I don't remember anymore.
Yeah, but I guess it is worth talking a little bit about like your involvement in the series because because I believe you actually initially auditioned for Kelsang all the way back years ago when we first held auditions for everybody.
I think that sounds correct.
Yeah, and then I ultimately ended up going with James Digit, but for the role of Kelsang. But I did reach out to you saying, "Hey, if you want, I think I have a character that might be a bit better off for you," and that's how we ended up getting the voice of Yoon.
Yeah, it was kind of a like, hey, if this goes anywhere, we might have a project. And I was like, all right, let me know.
Yeah, I think I talked about this in an earlier episode, but a fun fact is of all the characters we actually had voices for, we only held auditions for four of them. There was Kyoshi, there was Kelsang, and there was Genju. And originally we were actually going to have Heiran do the voice for be and do the opening narration. We later ended up replacing it with Fallon Echo and subsequently as Rungi. And yeah, it's sometimes it's just kind of funny how it all ends up shaking out.
Yeah, it makes it exciting at least.
Anyway, we're gonna jump into what we usually do on this, and let's get the episode going.
Fire, air,
Also, kind of a fun fact behind the
water,
scenes for our new viewers: as the series progresses, there is gonna be some little changes through the opening of the series, but
world
we'll see what happens. We'll get into it once
sun,
as we
no
get further
battle,
in the show.
a new age, and a new avatar.
So I posted about this on social media. I do believe that in terms of through nobody's real fault besides the source material, I do think of all the episodes we've done, this is definitely one of the weaker episodes. Just because all that really happens in this was just a few was is mainly just a few conversations, whereas something like the episode prior, there was actually a lot more action involved, where this is a lot more just sitting down and talking. But I mean, one
Yeah,
thing I
it's
do want to,
more dialoguing than plot progression.
yeah, um, next episode will jump into a little bit more action, but I do think there are still a couple of highlights here. In particular, I wanted to talk about the voice acting, not to glaze you more than I've already been at this point, but yeah, everyone in this episode does
Making sure we get
fantastic.
anything long-term out of it.
Yeah,
I guess the Avatar's pretty useless as a block of ice.
That I did not write that, by the way. That was in the book.
What happened?
The thing about him being Avatar being useless as a block of ice. It just kills me that they actually did that.
Yeah. We should keep it down. Just a little bit meta.
So I will say,
How did you get out of Tagaka's ice trap?
with a few exceptions, like I want to say maybe 85% of this episode was at least for the key images was done by Kachi, who has taken kind of an indefinite break from the series, which I promise you isn't the actual reason that there's been such a hiatus on this. It's just life has been busy. Like I actually had to look for a new editor just recently because the last one I actually outsourced to just kind of ghosted us. So through a number of factors, that's the reason the episode's been delayed so much. I'll be talking about this later when I post the annual channel update, but just wanted to make sure that was out of the way in case this comes out first.
Their ships are damaged beyond repair. Tagaka said it herself. Her power lies in her fleet. After what you did, it'll be impossible for any successors to rebuild.
Another fun fact is the Road Kyoshi. This was made back when we were working on episode 4 and 5, because we originally were going to do something like this for the scene when they were in Rangi's tent, but we ended up just having the right key images for the right moments, so we never ended up using them. So this is kind of my attempt at using them again. We actually do have we have another one for Rangi when she's in her sleepwear, but I don't think that's ever going to see the light of day. I'll post them as like I'll post it here so people can actually see it though.
Save them. People will talk about this for years. Avatar Yun, who saved entire villages. Avatar Yun, who beat the pirate queen. Avatar Yun.
Kyoshi, stop it, all right? Just stop it.
Stop.
Valen absolutely killing the scene here.
Stop pretending like everything's the same. We know what you and Kelsang were hiding from us. How could you keep that from us? Was it funny to you? Making us look like idiots? Knowing that there's a chance that all of our lives are a gigantic lie?
I didn't. It wasn't.
What was your angle, huh?
Actually, another fun fact about this episode is this scene we actually did manage to get Anna and Fallon on the same call, actually reading off of each other. So that's the reason. So if it sounds like if it sounds really natural between the two of them, that's because they were doing it in real time. Which I know is usually not.
I love when that works out.
Yeah, which I know that's not usually common for like indie projects, but it is nice to actually get it happen every once in a while.
Hey.
Yeah.
Did we wake
It really depends though, because I've read somewhere like they've gotten everybody on the same call and it either goes horribly or it goes really well.
I do feel like it's harder the more people that get involved.
Yeah. Well, and that one was confusing because no one was doing their natural accent, so I don't quite understand what was going on.
That's weird.
really have
Yeah, you got a French guy pretending to be Australian. I was being Scottish. Like it was just all over the place.
Am I allowed to ask what that project was?
I don't remember. I haven't heard anything about it in a while. I think they were going back to the drawing board to redo some stuff. So,
You just mean that you couldn't wait any longer to
yeah,
make your
I don't think
move.
there's been any updates
You
in it.
wanted to teach an avatar who depended on you more than Genju.
I don't know. I'd have to go through my
You
Discord
lost your
folders and see
chance
if it's
with
in the
Yun.
active or inactive
That's what I have
tabs.
to you. A do-over.
Sorry, I didn't want to glance over this, but like again, Anna just knocking it out as Kyoshi. I think this is probably some of her best voice acting in the series so far. Well, that and possibly the next episode. Oh shit! I actually forgot to mention. This is the first episode where we actually hired Leia Hidalgo as our new composer.
Marine?
Are you going
Not for this track, obviously, but in the tracks that we'll see later. Actually, a fun fact is this track in particular is from, I believe it's from Halo 2. And I don't know if
This is ridiculous.
I don't have the name in front of me, but I don't remember if it was in the comments or just a friend that I showed this to. They actually managed to clock that, and the look on their face was priceless. Wait, no, it was a person. I showed it to in person. But yeah, just...
Wait, what am I supposed to do until then?
Whatever the mistress wishes.
This is so weird. Master Genji?
Don't bother with that. Come with me.
if I remember right, I believe this was the first scene we actually finished. We actually reused the same background image from episode 2. A few people have picked up on. It was when Genju and Yoon were talking for the first time.
Is there a reason it's so dry in here?
Sorry, that's my doing. I dried the air out in this room for an exercise.
And yeah, like I said, if I remember right, I believe this was one of the first scenes that were finished.
Test on newborns in the fire division to see if they're capable of firebending.
If I remember right, I believe that the key images in this were done by, I want to say Jay did this. Hold on, it'll pop in a second.
What do I have to do?
Very little. This is made from shredded birch bark.
So Jay had mentioned that something he's a lot more comfortable with compared to other stuff is character art, whereas background images is where he'd usually source to someone like say JoJo or somebody else. But it's a little hard to tell because the backgrounds are so limited. I'm pretty sure he did the line for that, or it could be Kachi. I don't know. Kind of a good tell about like the artist team is it's a little hard to tell who does what because their artworks just like blend so well with each other.
It usually only takes newborns a few seconds at most under these conditions.
I don't understand. Didn't Yoon already pass this test?
Alright, and I believe these were done by Kachi, though.
Kyoshi, you in here?
Yoon?
There you are. What are you doing in here?
Oh, I'm just reading.
I just love the little PNG I ended up using for the scroll. I don't know why, it just clashes so hard with the actual style. It just...
Come to think of it, I might need
like
that if I have to train with the
Hyper realistic.
Or maybe you will.
It's like, I don't know if you watch a series called Smiling Friends, but there's like a scene where one of the characters, it's animated, but he's bouncing like an actual PNG of a tennis ball, and it's so jarring to watch.
Rangi will come around. You know how she is.
I don't know, I like it when those styles kind of like clash with each other sometimes.
Yeah, it definitely, if it's a choice instead of a mistake, that's always like, it feels different, you know. And if you can't tell, then that's even better.
How is a cutthroat business. You'd think masters of the world are these benevolent, selfless old men and women, but it turns out that some of them just want to use the avatar.
I'm like starting to remember recording these lines.
Yeah, it's
In a minute.
We call the elder sages.
I was gonna say, if I remember right, I actually did need to do more than 2 takes with a lot of these lines with you, which is usually pretty saying because most actors in general usually just kind of do 2 takes on their own with a little direction beyond that, or like usually with direction beyond that. So yeah, I think this is probably some of your best here too.
Yeah, it's always interesting kind of hearing or seeing like how different people give feedback. Like you have a very specific vision for what you want this to sound like, you know, and so we'll record together for, you know, kind of peek behind the curtain, and you'll give me direction on the day as we go through. Like I said, I've had other projects where I've recorded in a group setting, or like an audiobook I've been working through, like a drama. The guy sends me these pages and then I record them and send them off to him, and he'll give me notes, which now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should go back and make sure I don't have any notes I need to work on. But, you know, very rarely do we actually ever talk about the script. You know, it's kind of like completely my creative choice on how I want to say things and rewrite lines if they don't feel natural for me, which is kind of an interesting collaborative process. So you run the gamut from, you know, how much involvement you're allowed to have in certain areas, and it's fun to work within whatever constraints you're given.
Sorry, I wanted to talk about this image in particular really quick because I wanted it to be sort of a parallel to how it ended with in episode 3, where like Kyoshi was doing that for Yoon, but now he's doing it for her. And a bit of a fun thing is so Kyoshi is not Kyoshi is canonically bisexual, and like a lot of people are seeing that she's starting to lean towards Rangi, but there is some implication that she has some of that with Yoon as well. But before, you know, and I'm not going to say anything to spoil, but those who know, if you read the book, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that was episode 6 though. And sorry, not to pivot so hard again, but what you were talking about as far as direction goes is what was it? Some really good ideas, some really good advice I heard when it comes to directing. So I used to do voice acting. I used to do voice acting classes with Steve Bloom on his website, Bloomvox, and he would usually bring in extra guests to like help teach their own perspective on how they got into voice acting. And in one particular lesson, they got Troy Baker along, and he gave this really good advice when it comes to directing people that I really wish I had at the start of this. But something he said is like, and he used Batman Arkham Knight as a reference, was when you want somebody to say something a certain way, don't parrot the line to them. Say the sentence that you want it to have with the same energy. Like, instead of saying, look up there, it's Batman, you could say, hey, look, over there. And people can kind of still follow it with that in mind while still giving their own unique spin to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, giving the tone and styling of it rather than actually doing it for them.
Right. You know, that way there's a little bit more of the collaborative process, because instead of just being forced to parrot what the director wants, you're still able to give your own unique spin to it, which I think is important, which I think is kind of important on both sides.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was episode 6. And yeah, I just want to say thank you for lending your talent to this project. It has been an absolute blast working with you, pretty much everybody here. It's been a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's been a blast. It's fun to be part of projects that you also enjoy watching, you know? I often am picky about what I audition for just because it's something that if I want to lend my voice to it, I want to be interested in it, you know?
Yeah,
obviously, if you paid me enough money, I would consider almost anything, but, you know, I'm shallow like that too. But, you know, passion
people
projects,
gotta eat. I get it.
Yeah, you know, this is something I do for fun at this time, and you know, background in film and you know, working in that kind of entertainment and music and stuff. But yeah, I like just being able to tell stories, and so getting to lend my voice to stories has always been just a blast.
So before we close this out, so where can we find you?
Yeah, so right now, I mean, you can follow me, I guess, on X at Roth Voices. That's kind of the only place that I exist at the moment. I haven't really been posting a whole lot on there because I haven't been doing a whole lot recently. I've been doing stuff for my day job and just enjoying a relaxing season of life. But if I do have upcoming things as projects come out, that's most likely where I'll be posting.
Fair enough. Well, do you have anything you'd like to say to the audience before we close things out for the day?
Yeah, just thanks for watching, everyone. I know it's really fun to read the comments. I know you're not supposed to always do that, but I'm one of those people who likes to hear criticism and likes to hear compliments at the same time, and enjoys listening to my own voice. So thanks for watching and commenting, and you know, I'm waiting eagerly for the next episode just like everybody else.
Yeah, it's like I really do appreciate that so many people like really do seem to love working on this, because like I don't want this to feel like work, you know, because ultimately this is just us doing something we love. And
yeah, 100%.
And yeah, it's just been a blast doing this. So I want to add on to that as well. Thank you everyone for watching. I also read the comments. I know that's really not something you're supposed to do when you're the main creator behind it, but I'm also super vain, and I like to read them, both good and bad. So if you have commented on these videos, there is a good chance I have actually seen it. So anyway, I guess that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in either the next video, the next episode, or whenever this comes out. So, yeah, take it easy, everybody.